Hello everyone. Hi. Welcome to Flutter Festival Info Session 2022. We'll be waiting for a few more participants and then we'll begin. So this is Amisha Kirti, Flutter facilitator this year. Hi Chinmaya, Subhashri, Rajesh. Hello. So are you guys excited? We have 14 viewers now. Well, Rajesh, my video is off. You can see the presentation. Hello, Ankit, Yash. So meanwhile, we can move ahead and you can see this mascot. His name is Dash. For those who don't know what a mascot is, it is basically some animal or a symbol which can be used for good luck. It's used for more promotion. And this mascot which you see here, would you like to guess which bird it is? No, it's not a penguin. We have a right answer. It's a hummingbird. Well, yes, it looks like Angry Bird too, but it's a hummingbird. And there's a symbolism why hummingbird is chosen for Flutter, because hummingbird is considered to be fast, and Dart, which is used, or Flutter, which is used, is also a speedy language. So yes, Gokul, you might get a Dart plushie if you complete this Flutter Festival event with us. So our participants have increased. We can now move ahead. Yes, right, Summer, it looks like that. So moving on to the agenda of the session, we'll be discussing about the Flutter Festival 2022, what is Flutter, features of Flutter, the tasks that need to be completed in this Flutter Festival this year, the perks that you'll be receiving on completing the tasks, and meanwhile, what are the sessions ahead? And not to forget the Google Solution Challenge. The Google Solution Challenge has the deadline of March 31st. And whatever you create or you learn to create, you can give it a try. And last but not the least, we'll have a Q&A session for all the doubts that you have. Moving ahead, what are Flutter festivals? Flutter Festival, basically, it's a community-led event through communities like Google Developer Student Clubs, where developers or students who aspire to be developers can learn the fundamentals of Google technologies, basically Flutter, Firebase, and Google Cloud content. And we have almost a month till March 30th, 2022. You can take part in this Flutter Festival. However, the contents will be available for the whole time. The contents are provided by Google and they are top notch. You cannot doubt the content that they have provided. Next, what is Flutter? Flutter is basically Google's portable UI toolkit for building multi-platform or cross-platform applications. By cross-platform, we mean not just a device like phone, Android, iOS. Through Flutter, we can build apps that can be used on all the devices. It combines the use of a website, an Android app, an iOS app, all through one programming base, that is Flutter. Moving ahead, with Flutter, we can build apps for every platform, like I discussed earlier. And not just that, it's even though it builds app for all the platform, it is fast. It can move to all the limits, like it's much more faster than the Android native platforms, and it's also much more productive means it has a facility called hot reload. Hot reload means you can dynamically watch how your product is being deployed while you are creating it. And no doubt on the beautiful feature of Flutter, there are such good UI UX present available by default that you can always create beautiful applications and beautiful websites. And the best feature is it is open. It's open for all. Everyone can try it for free, and all the code as well as documentation is free. Moving further, the points that I discussed are the foundation pillar for Flutter, that is fast, productive, beautiful, open, and portable. Using these features, Flutter can be used on all devices and it's growing at a very fast pace. Next up, we'll see for how many devices that Flutter support. Flutter supports for iOS, which comes from Apple company, Android, web like websites, for Windows, for Mac OS, for Linux, for embedded systems as well, and all from a single code base. Single code base means it uses only one programming languages, and not just that, it is trusted by developers from startups to enterprise applications. It has covered it all. And on Play Store, currently there are more than 2 million Flutter apps. As you can see in the image, Square, Toyota, Ubuntu, all of these make use of Flutter. And not just that, we have also many Google technologies that make use of Flutter too. The Blogger app, which we often come across, the Google Pay, which most of us use, Google One, Google Analytics, all of them comprise Flutter. Flutter might be new. As far as I know, it began in 2015 and it finally came in 2017. Since then, it has we can see how fast its ecosystem has evolved. It has so much 110 plus GitHub stars for its open source repositories. It has 15K plus packages, 1000 contributors, more than 120K Twitter followers, and there are Google Meetup groups, and no doubt it is open source. For those who have previously tried a hand in Android, might know what Android Studio is, and those who have taken part in the Android Study Jams too, they might know what Android Study Jams is. Flutter uses Android Study Jams, but Android Studio, sorry, and it can also make use of VS Code, Xcode. Xcode is also like VS Code, but it is used for Mac OS. Firebase is another application, and Google technology which can implement Flutter. Android APIs, iOS APIs, material design, Redux. These are some of the third-party plugins that can be used by Flutter as well. And moving ahead, this was what Flutter has achieved till now. And as per the product director of Flutter, we can see he has said that it is designed for the future. Flutter is the first UI platform that is designed for an ambient computing world. Also, in the recent blog post, it has been mentioned that Flutter developers can earn almost a average base salary of $70K when learned. Obviously, you have to be an expert for that. So there is a link for that blog post too. You'll get the slides and you can take a look at that. Moving ahead. So this is the most important part. For this Flutter Festival to be complete, you have to complete some tasks. And these are the list of the tasks. The first task, you have to complete 4 quests for the Cloud Skill Boost website. And you can also learn Flutter from the Google Docs. And for this Flutter Festival, you'll have to complete 2 code labs that teach you how to build a Flutter app, a basic Flutter app. And finally, when you move ahead and you are confident enough on your Flutter programming language, so you can also make contribution to Dev Library. Dev Library is a platform developed by Google where people share what they have created, what they have developed through Flutter. It can either be a blog post or be a GitHub project. We'll be discussing this further. So this is the first task, Cloud Skill Boost. For this, we have to complete 4 quests, like mentioned here, Dart Essentials. This is important as Flutter makes use of the programming language Dart. As we click on it, we'll see. So this is the quest that you have to complete. As we can see, there are 4 labs in this quest. Now moving ahead, we'll move on to the next quest batch that we have to complete, Flutter Essentials. After we have learned Dart, we can implement it in Flutter. So Flutter quest can help you build. First of all, it will give you a quick start of how to implement. Then it will assist you in building a 2-screen Flutter application. It will help you in working with on-screen data in Flutter application, and it will help you implement page navigation. All these things will be taught in this Flutter Essentials. And those who have taken part in 30 days of Google Cloud earlier might have idea of how good these quests are and these labs are. There are tutorials, like if I sign in now, I can show you one. We can see This is how the Flutter Essential Lab 1 has begun, and it, it in a very synchronized way, it teaches you how to build whatever, like this is a quick start. So it will first tell you how what you learn, the prerequisites, and how to set up the labs, and it will also give you a very crisp tutorial on how to create a Flutter app. Like as we can see, stepwise tutorials are given, and if we follow them, we can learn Flutter in a very good way. So moving ahead, this was our second quest that we needed to complete. As we proceed further, we'll move on to Flutter development quest, and this comprises of 5 labs. So as we can see, these 3 are the most essential tasks that we need to do. The first one has 4 labs, second one has 6 labs, and the next one has 5 labs. And this will help you build basic foundation on Flutter. And the last quest that we see is basically Google Cloud Essentials, that will give you an overall idea of what Google Cloud is. And those who have already completed it on 30 days of Google Cloud might find it easy.
Amisha, excuse. Actually, your screen is paused. Can you just reshare it or something? Yeah, it's visible now. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So moving ahead, for these quests, we need to have some cloud credits because these quests aren't free. And Google is offering you free credit subscription for a month. So how can we avail it? Let's take a look. The cloud credits will be given as monthly subscription till 1st May. However, you have to avail it before March 30. And let's take a look at the tutorial on how we can do it. So there is a blog that I have published for people to take a look even if they miss this. So first of all, we'll need to navigate to the quests that I have mentioned in my slides, and then we'll first log in to the site like I did in the a few seconds ago. After logging in, we'll get 8 credits, and if we enroll in the quest, whichever you have clicked, 8 credits or 20 credits, it varies. There are 9 credits also, some get 21. So with that credits, we can start one of the lab, and on starting one of the lab and following the instructions, when we finally complete it and end the lab, we'll receive a monthly subscription. And using that monthly subscription, we can take up the 4 of the quests that I mentioned before and complete all the labs. This monthly subscription has no limit. You can make use of any credits that you need for whatever amount. And if you explore further, you will see that there are labs that take more than 10 credits, also 12 credits. So in this monthly subscription, there is no limit. And also don't forget, when you sign in for the credits, you have to make your profile public. And for that, you'll go to your profile section, click on this button, make badge profile public, and then you proceed. So this was how you can avail the monthly credits. The links are here, and my friends will also post the blog link in the comment section. You can take a look there as well. So this was about task 1. Next task. For the next task, we need to complete the Flutter Journey, which is provided by Google. Flutter has provided in 3 levels: beginner, intermediate, and expert. Like if we choose, we can move ahead and take a look further. In this beginner level, we have a Dart pad. A Dart pad is for practicing Dart programming language which is used in Flutter. Like we can take a look, and this is the program that we have written. I have written for practicing. And if we run it, Like this is a program that tests the Fibonacci series and for 20. So this is the value. So Dart pad is basically for practicing Dart language online. And moving ahead, in the beginner level, you'll also know how to install. However, Flutter development can be done in VS Code also, Android Studio, as I mentioned earlier. These are all the things that are in the beginner level. But for our Flutter Festival, we need to complete this code lab. Build your first Flutter app, part 1. We can read this and it teaches you step-by-step process of how to proceed and build a Flutter app. This was part 1 and then you can come back and move here. This is part 2. So for the Flutter Festival, you need to learn both part 1 and part 2. On completing this, part 1 and part 2, you'll earn some badges. Even like in the Google Cloud Quests also, you'll earn the badges. And on completing task 2, you'll earn badges as well. The links are in the slides also. We'll share the slide link and you can also click it and create and learn further. This was about a beginner. If you are able to complete beginner, you can also proceed to intermediate. Like intermediate will teach you further, like implicit animations, about layouts, forms, validations. Or it will also help you integrate with Firebase, native APIs, and many more. This was intermediate, and if we move to expert, it will teach you advanced concepts. So these both intermediate and expert levels are optional for you. For this Flutter Festival, you only need to complete the beginner level and it's as easy as that. So like I mentioned, the badges will be displayed. For that, you need to create a Google developer profile. For that, we click here and I'll give you a tutorial on how to create a Google developer profile. Like this screen has opened, we'll create a profile. I have already signed in with my Google account, so it will directly create here. Otherwise, it might ask you to sign in with your email. So now when we click, we can I can add my name. I'm a student. She I am from CV Raman, Global University. So we proceed, and this is how your Google developer profile is created. Now, when you click on the code labs and complete it, it will be displayed here. I can also show you one of the profile in which I have completed some of the badges earlier. Like as we created it, gave us a badge, created Google developer profile, and you can also make this public if you wish. Otherwise, I guess it's public. No, it's private. So we can change settings and make it public too. So for the Flutter Festival, you need to make your profiles public. Otherwise, we won't be able to assess you. And you won't get the perks even if you have completed this tasks. And if anyone wants to take a look on how a completed profile looks like, this is my profile from another ID. And for those who have already created profile and already need the link, they can navigate here, and on my profile we can take a look at the badges. Like this this is the way in which the badges will be displayed after you have completed the code labs. So moving back to our presentation, we learned how to create a developer profile and we learned about the task 1 and task 2. Now this is the task 3, contribution to dev library. This is an optional task. In After you have completed the code labs and you have completed the Flutter journey, you feel confident, you can make your own projects. Not just projects, you can make blogs, articles, or whatever new you feel, and the content which is not available, or maybe some new discovery that you make. So you can contribute that to dev library. Dev library is a platform like this, like whatever you build, you can click submit, and you can open an advoco form will open, and you can submit your submissions here. Whatever you create, submit your content. Before that, you can also take a look on what are the contents that have already been posted. Like if we take a look at Flutter, these are the recently updated Flutter content that have been added to dev library. And you can't just add any content. Whatever you add will first be validated and accepted by the managers who manage the dev library. These are one of the projects which you can these are the projects which you can take ideas from. So what are the steps to submit? I just showed you how we can navigate to dev library, we can sign in and submit our content. As like that we can submit, then it will be evaluated based on various parameters like freshness of the content, compliance with the tech version, language, and understanding of the topic. Whatever content you have posted must not be copied from somewhere. It must be your own. And if you are selected, you are entitled to GDSC swags and dev library top contributor prizes. And you must keep in mind the contributions must be made between February 14th to March 30th. So it's that timeline has passed. You still have time till March 30th. And whoever submission is selected from GDSC CVRGU or anyone from the CV Raman Global University will be gifted with swags and prizes. We don't know what are the swags because even the Google managers have not told us what the swags are. So whatever we'll receive, we'll share it with you on your valid submission. What more is, there are evaluation guidelines and there are submission formats. The formats are same as I showed you in the Flutter dev library, and the guidelines are mentioned. The content can be a blog post or it can be a GitHub project, and there are certain content ideas and language parameters. And like I mentioned, it should not be copied from somewhere. The plagiarism is checked every time. Moving ahead. So these are the tasks that you had to do. Now you can immediately click on this link and move ahead to registration. Whatever doubts we have, we'll also be discussing it in the Q&A session. Now we can take a look at the link. I see a question. No, not just CVRGU. Anyone who fills our form and makes a successful contribution to dev library is eligible for the swags. This is the form which you have to fill for the successful registration. I can give you a sample for this as well. Now, this is the most important part. Like I taught you how you can earn the cloud credits. So whatever quests that you complete through those credits will be displayed on your Google Cloud profile. So obviously you'll have to create a profile, and for that you can navigate here like I taught you in the blog post as well. And here you'll register, and not just register, you'll have to make your cloud profile public. Otherwise, those quest badges will not be visible. For that, you'll have to move to profile tab and make badge profile public, like it is mentioned in that post. And apart from the Google Cloud profile, you'll also have to submit your Google Developers profile. And Google Developers profile must also be public. And after that, you'll have to agree to this, and then when you submit, your registration will be complete. And you must keep in mind that both these profiles must be from same email address. If you have a cloud profile earlier, it might get difficult for you in enrolling in the quest or getting monthly subscription. So I'll suggest create a new email ID and register for this Flutter Festival. So this was about registration form. Moving ahead, what are the perks? On completing the task 1 and task 2 successfully, you will get a certificate of completion from GDSC CVRGU as well as from the Flutter Festival event. And obviously the badges which you receive on completion of the 4 quests and the code labs. You can also try another code labs which are,
Amisha, your screen is again paused. Yeah, it's visible.
is it visible now?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So I was discussing badges. The badges that you receive from the Cloud Quest will be displayed on your profile. You can add it on your resume because Google Cloud is also a technology that people often show that they have learned Google Cloud. It is there are cloud developers, and through this Flutter Festival, you'll all obviously learn app development using Flutter, and that is a perk in itself too because it's totally free. There are no costs for it. You learn programming, development, everything. And this, like I mentioned, the task 3 contribution to dev library was optional, but whoever completes it will get a swag if they make a valid and accepted contribution. I mentioned it earlier too. So what are you waiting for? I hope the registrations must have begun. So till March 30th, we have a lot of time. So we will also be planning other sessions apart from the code labs which you take. It will be good if you learn from those code labs because in the sessions we'll be moving a little ahead of that. And there are prizes and certificates for the sessions you attend as well later. This is a rough timeline about what the sessions will be about. It will be about Dart programming language, about development with Flutter, about Firebase with Flutter, and app development tutorial. So you must keep in mind the timeline. We are planning it about on second week of March. So you have time till then. You can brush up your basics, or you can totally build a foundation on Flutter, and then as we move ahead with the sessions, like this series of sessions, you will have a better understanding of Flutter and Firebase. Firebase is used with Flutter often, so we'll be teaching you that as well in this Flutter Festival. And if you are interested more, you can also Google up Firebase, and there are separate code labs for Firebase as well. So you can try your hands on them before the session begins. So this was all about the Flutter Festival, and we must not forget the GDSC Solution Challenge. Google Developers Solution Challenge is a annual event or hackathon And we can also participate in this. You can post whatever contribution you make at the dev library or which you feel is suitable for a hackathon or any project you create. You can submit it in the solution challenge. It's like it has 17 UN development goals as its criteria in which you can submit your projects, and you have time till March 31st. So you have ample amount of time. You can create your projects and submit. So this was all about Flutter Festival. Thank you everyone for patient listening. So you can throw away your doubts now. I am taking a look at the chat, and all the students or participants who are watching must register for the event. We already mentioned who are eligible for this Flutter Festival. Anyone who fills this registration form, yes, Rajesh, you can build Flutter iOS app in Windows as well, because it makes use of like Android Studio and VS Code. So basically, we need an IDE for developing Flutter apps. So you can try that programming there only. But for testing, you'll need an iOS device. I'm waiting for some more queries. Yes, the slides will be shared. And in the registration form as well, the slide link is there. If you take a look in the description. And you can also take a look at the task that I told about, because it's there in the slides. All the links are also there in the slides. If you click on the element like on the quest, you can get the link how to get the monthly subscription also. So if we don't have any more doubts, we might end the session in 4 to 5 minutes. And all the audience can also join the social media handles of GDSC CVRGU. There is a Discord channel for the Flutter Festival 2022. You can ask all your doubts there if you come across any. And do we need to learn Dart first for this Flutter Festival? Yes, for Flutter development, the Dart programming language is used, and that's why we have Dart Essentials Quest first. Dart programming language is, it's not that hard if you have prior experience in programming even a little bit, you can easily learn. Like there's only a syntax difference. My teammates will share the Discord link in the chat. And you don't need to put extra time for that. You can learn that meanwhile you are practicing Flutter development also. Basics, control structure, conditional statements, that's all you need to know for Flutter development. And we will also be making a WhatsApp group if there is an urgent need. Otherwise, Discord link will only be used for all the discussion. Yes, Rajesh, we are also eligible for this. All right, so it's 7:43. We'll take doubts for 2 minutes more and then we'll end the session. And all of you must follow the social media handles of GDSC CVRGU, like on Instagram, and you must subscribe to the channel as well for further updates because we'll be interacting with you till March 30th for Flutter Festival through these handles. Gaurav, it's time for the session to end. You can post this doubt in the Discord channel. I'll answer it there. Profile not found. So last minute, it's 7:45. I hope you all of you enjoyed the session. We'll be ending it now. Thank you.